Welcome to the Triple Option Football Podcast. I'm K.J. Pilcher alongside my colleagues Jeff Linder and Jeff Johnson, ready to discuss high school football like we do every week during the fall. We got some great things to talk about. Last week's results, regular season finales for the small classes this week coming up, as well as week 8 for the bigger schools. We've got another edition of Who's Got More. This is Best Game Performance Edition, fellas. So keep that in mind. And then whatever seems to slip into our minds and our heads while we're talking here. Rain in the forecast this week, something we haven't had to deal with a lot. I think week 1 we had some, but does rain really factor in anymore? That fields, there are a lot more turf fields that teams play on instead of natural grass, that maybe it doesn't have as big of an effect as it once did?
We can't really say the term mutter much anymore, right?
No.
It's not really a mutter. It's just wet rubber,
Just
or whatever the field.
slippery.
Yeah, there you go, slippery.
All right.
But 80% chance tomorrow night of showers, gentlemen. So
Fantastic.
wear your hats and your rain slicker out at your games. So
Do you guys have rain slickers?
not since I was probably in about 4th grade.
Okay. Was it the
have rain
traditional
boots.
yellow
Yeah,
raincoat?
right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay.
In the big boots, that you
Yep.
always had to wear.
All right. Well, hey, let's look back. As always, let's start with last week's games. A lot of big games. Well, I guess big scoring games, really. Not a lot of competitive games actually out there. Is one of those mismatch weeks, in my opinion. Let's why don't you guys go ahead and start with the games that you were at last week. Lindy, where were you at? What did you see?
I was at
last week?
Independence, and I saw a terrific game for the second week in a row. Both games involving Independence, but I saw an overtime game. First overtime I've seen in, boy, I don't know how long. It's been a while, but Benton Community won at 34-28 in overtime, and great game. Interception for a touchdown by Will Schonbacher was the big play of the game. They were down by a point, and Independence had the ball, and Schonbacher got in front of a pass and returned it 30 yards for a touchdown. That put the Bobcats up 28-21. Independence got the tying drive late in regulation, and then Benton got a stop in overtime, and Benton got a touchdown on a 1-yard run by Carson Nolan. So just a terrific game. Benton won despite, how many yards? Okay, figure this out, guys. Independence had 335 yards of total offense, and Christopher Meyer had 341.
Wow. So
So
everybody else was going
he had
backward.
more than 100% of Independence's output there. So, which you
That's-
never see.
That's a rare occurrence. That doesn't
Yeah.
happen very often.
Yeah, I think they had another guy that had a 6-yard loss on a run.
Wow.
So
He's
does Indy still have a chance, Jeff, to make the playoffs?
Yeah. Actually, if they win out, and they should, I think they're going to be in. Right now they're sitting 14 in the RPI, and if they can get to 6-3, I think they've got a really good chance. And the more we look at it, the more it looks like that team's going to get 2 at-large teams. Even if Benton splits here the rest of the way, finishes 5-4, I think they'll get in.
Okay.
And another big game for Benton this week. West Delaware comes to town.
Mhm.
So like you said, if they can split these next 2, good for the Bobcats.
Yeah.
But some big games in that district. Was it 3A4? Is that District 4?
3A2.
3A2.
See, that's why other sports should never go to districts, is because we never know what the heck each district is called.
Yeah, it's easier to go by conferences, right?
Yeah.
JJ, you had double duty last week. You had a game Thursday night at Kingston with Kennedy and Waterloo West, and then Friday. Remind me where you were at on Friday.
I went to suburban Troy Mills to watch Northland play.
Oh, that's
Midland.
right.
So
That's right.
Yeah, it was
And,
good. The first game was the Thursday night game was outstanding. And we talked about it on last week's podcast, the importance of Waterloo West and Cedar Rapids Kennedy, that the winner still had a chance to make the playoffs in 5A, and the loser might just be out. And West won the game 28-21. Terrific kind of back and forth action, and West has some really good skill guys. Brett McGovern, their quarterback, was 18 out of 22 for 195 yards and 4 touchdowns. They had some good receivers on the outside, and then a kid at running back, Felix. I think it's Anan is his last name. He had over 100 yards rushing, and they just basically just kind of outscored Kennedy there, 28-21, and another frustrating loss for the Cougars, guys. And it's just kind of been one of those seasons where things, they've shot themselves in the foot, so to speak, a lot this season with bad penalties and untimely penalties, and this was no exception. You had a kid right on the opening kickoff, the tackle was made, and a West and a Kennedy kid kind of got together and started jawing, and the Kennedy kid punched the West kid. Well, there you go. 15-yard penalty, he's out of the game. So that's just kind of sums up, a lot of the frustration for Kennedy so far this season. And West still gives itself a chance, obviously, to make the playoffs with, I think, at least one really tough game. I'd have to double check West's schedule.
They got Waukee in week 9. They got Marshalltown at home tomorrow, and then they go to Waukee. So even though Waukee's 2-5, that's still a toughie. Yeah,
for sure. And then Friday night, just we hadn't hit really Northland this season, and the Lynx are having a great year, undefeated, and we kind of took apart Midland 39-7. Will Sommerfeld, quarterback, he had 4 total touchdowns, 3 runs, and a 85-yard interception return for a touchdown. And Northland's got a really good line, really good defensive line. They kind of rotate 8 guys, which is very unusual at the small school level in Class A. And a big one coming up tomorrow night against Wapsie Valley for the District 4 championship. Those teams are ranked 6-7, I believe, in our poll in Class A.
Yep.
And the winner's gonna be a district champ and set itself up for a couple of home playoff games. So that'll be in suburban Fairbank tomorrow.
Fairbank. Yeah. So last week, just to chime in here on the game I covered, I went to Solon the first time to see the Spartans play. They had Washington, Iowa at home. Was kind of a mismatch. Solon won 42-0. They had a nice long sustained drive for their first touchdown, and then after that it was the defense forcing turnovers and parlaying that into points on the offensive side. A lot of short fields, just kind of got really out of hand quick after those turnovers came. A lot of fumbles. This is it kind of went maybe as expected a little bit. Solon has just been fantastic this season. Something, I was a little surprised with, I'll be honest with you. I certainly did not have Solon being in the upper echelon of 3A teams to start the season, but they certainly have proven that's where they belong right now. And they're probably going to finish out 9-0 to start the postseason. But Friday was a little bit different. If you read my story that's at the Gazette.com, as well as all of our gamers and preview stuff here for week 8. afterwards, they had a moment of silence. The two teams came together at midfield and took a knee and huddled in honor of a 17-year-old Washington student that died at the end of September in a hunting accident. It was a very touching moment with both teams. Talked to Coach Lucas Stanton afterwards, the Solon coach, and he said he reached out to Coach Williams at Washington, kind of asked what they could do. Stanton said he was on the other side of things, dealing with loss before. The same with the Solon community, and Washington was one of the first communities there to show the support, so they wanted to reciprocate that Friday night. You could tell it was emotional, meant a lot. And then after that, you had senior ceremonies for the last regular season home game for those Spartan seniors, and that was emotional. And you could see, a lot of tears, a lot of hugs, and it just kind of was a reminder that sometimes football is a catalyst for bigger things. Sometimes the game isn't the most important thing, but it certainly can provide the stage for something bigger and better. And I think we saw that with the two communities coming together, with Solon acknowledging their seniors. Sometimes it's a ceremony that maybe gets overlooked or what have you, but it's a lot of blood, sweat, toil, and tears that go into those careers. And to acknowledge that in the last regular season home game is pretty cool. And then see the two teams come together was pretty awesome. So we'll take a look at some of the other scores, especially in the Metro and Iowa City area. One of the big games, I think, on the docket was Prairie at Cedar Falls, and Cedar Falls comes away with a 2017 victory there. Mike Condon was there. You can read the gamer at the Gazette.com. But what's your takeaway there with Prairie, especially now that they've got Iowa City West coming into John Wall Field tomorrow night? Was that one that kind of got away, kind of slipped through their fingers a little bit? Was that one they needed, or is it just kind of a blip on the radar and move on to week 8?
Well, it makes the job a little bit more difficult now that they've still got West. Were they 4-3 Prairie? Is that right?
Yeah, and I think 13 in the RPI right
now.
Yeah.
If they split the last two games, I think they're still going to make the playoffs. And they certainly could win both. I guess they could lose both. I mean, Dubuque Senior in week 9 isn't bad either. So, it took away a little bit of the margin for error. I think with their strength schedule, they're still sitting pretty well to get in for sure. But this probably eliminated any chance they had to host the first round.
Kind of moving on, Iowa City High beat Des Moines East 59-14. That's City High's first win of the season. Knew they were going to be green and kind of rebuild a little bit, but I certainly didn't think it would take to week 7 before they got their first win. But now they're in the win column.
And Pilcher, young man, sophomore quarterback, threw, I think, 5 touchdown passes, which tied the school record.
Yep. Chase,
I'll have to double check on his name.
Chase Cabeza.
There we go. Yep.
I think he was 29 for 33.
That's not bad.
No.
And back to Prairie too, real quick. Sorry I didn't chime in earlier. Dawson Call only had one carry last Friday night, so there must be an injury situation going on with him, and he's their top running backs. And he was out one game earlier this season with a concussion, so I hope that isn't another one because that hurts obviously Prairie with Dawson Call being out. So sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, you bring up a good point with Call because he's a big part of their offense, and the best product they can put out there is when he's in the backfield. Linmar, 48-7 over Muscatine. 3 straight wins for the Lions there. They crept ahead of Kennedy, still 21, probably not going to make the playoffs, but still, they've turned things around here recently under Coach Dwayne Orr. A nice little win streak. Only allowed 17 points over those last 3 games that they've won. Iowa City Liberty with a 28-14 victory over Pleasant Valley. Reese Reddig doing Reese Reddig things again. 263 total yards, 158 on the ground with a TD. Brody Brewer rushed for 156 yards and 2 TDs. And Iowa City Liberty rushed for 339 overall. Iowa City West, we mentioned they were going to Prairie. They took care of business against Davenport Central, 63-7. And a couple other 5A scores of note in the state. Number 1, Waukee Northwest, 38. Number 9, Southeast Polk, 7. And then Sioux City East, number 10, Sioux City East, knocked off number 4, Johnston, 21-17. Okay. I know I've got to eat a little crow here.
Me too.
I wasn't buying into the Sioux City East, thinking they didn't have much of a schedule, but boy, they certainly have proven even with their loss, they're highly competitive in that loss, and now they knock off number 4 Johnston. You gotta buy into what is it, the Black Raiders, right?
I'll eat crow with you. We'll throw some hot sauce on there. Pilchy, and we'll down it together. I was wrong. Not the first time today, but that's an impressive win. And like you said, the only loss was a close one to Ankeny. So yeah, everybody, we've been looking all year on the east side. Can anybody over here hang with the big dogs in Central Iowa? Well, I guess maybe we should have looked a little further west, huh?
Yeah.
So Sioux City East finishes with Council Bluffs, Lincoln, and Ames. So they're going to finish 8-1. And if unless they've got Ankeny right on their heels, they'll be that 4 seed in the playoffs. If Ankeny's at 5, then Ankeny would flip flop them because they had to.
So Lindy, would it be a possibility that like a Cedar Rapids school or somebody over here would have to go all the way out to Sioux City to play a first round game?
Well, I suppose it's possible. I would say it's unlikely. I would think they would probably do some kind of a procedural bump to get one of those Des Moines schools to go out there instead.
Okay.
Just got right now looking east is 4, 13 would be Prairie.
Yeah.
I would think common sense would prevail there a little bit, though. Maybe flip flop and have Ankeny Centennial go out there. They're the 12, and Prairie would play, Ankeny, which is the 5 right now. So still a lot of football to be played between now and then.
It's all 4-lane. I can attest. Going out there for state baseball, it's an easy drive. It's just a long one. So
yeah,
who knows?
Which Sioux City East had a nice run in baseball too. So obviously a very, very accomplished and athletic class coming through the halls right now out there. So kudos to Sioux City East. Let's move on to the couple of the other Metro Iowa City scores. In 4A, Cedar Rapids Xavier took care of business against Waterloo East 61-18. Cash Parks, 4 or 5, 55 yards and a TD, very limited action. Carter Hoffman, 96 yards rushing and 3 TDs there. Grinnell blank Marion 30-0. And then Waverly Shell Rock beat Cedar Rapids, Washington 45-14. Decorah with a big win over Mason City 58-13, which sets up a showdown with Xavier this week at Saints Field for the district title. But check out this line from Trevor Kennan against Mason City for the Vikings. He had 140 yards rushing. And then Tommy Sexton, he had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 6.5 tackles, 5 solo, 2.5 tackles for lost, 1.5 sacks, and then he returned an interception, 30 yards for a TD. Kind of right on par there with Will Sommerfeld as far as great all-around games last week. But you've got that biggie, Decorah and Xavier. You know, they've had some pretty outstanding games in the past, especially when it was Decorah Regis, going back a handful of decades even. You know, what do you guys expect this week there with those two teams coming off big losses and a lot at stake? Because the winner, you think home, dome, maybe in the playoffs.
I think Xavier is probably a favorite by, I don't know, at least 1 touchdown. You know, you look at Decorah has a loss, and it was fairly lopsided, I think, to Western Dubuque, which is a team that Xavier beat in a close game. So just by association, I think Xavier will certainly be a favorite here, and then playing at home as well. I mean, that's a long trip from Decorah, but you know, I think Decorah probably can play with anybody, right, guys? So I guess that's my take. Xavier will be favored certainly, but you know, I also covered a game. Decorah came down here for a playoff game one year in fairly recent times and beat Xavier. So it has been done.
KJ, you played high school football. JJ, you played high school baseball. What does a long trip mean? You know, going on the road, you know, 2-hour trip. How much does that affect the team?
Well, in baseball, I think the farthest trip we ever took was maybe to Dubuque.
Yeah.
Dubuque, Davenport, Waterloo, Cedar Falls. So it wasn't really ever bad. And, you know, I don't know. A lot of schools for the farther trips, they take charter buses now, which is very, very comfortable, especially compared to the old Bluebird, right? So I don't know that it's necessarily that big a factor. Pilcher, what do you think? I mean, you played football and had to make some trips, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of an issue. Now, when you're driving down two-lane roads, it's a little bit different than, like you mentioned. A lot of our trips were to Waterloo, you know, on 380, going to Davenport, up to Dubuque on 151. This trip might be a little different. I think the only thing I would say would be the biggest issue, because you're going to get there early. You're going to get time to stretch out. You know, you still got a sophomore game or JV game, whatever, you know, that first game is now, to be able to kind of stretch and kind of shake off, you know, any lingering effects of being in a bus for 2 to 3 hours. The biggest thing is keeping kids focused, I would say. You know, obviously, I'm sure they probably have a go-to movie that they throw in on these charters. You know, ours was always Major League when we go to baseball games. But the thing is keeping them focused, and you can get on a bus, and sometimes if you don't have the right leadership or the right maturity, it's grab ass, and coaches are babysitting more than kids are kind of minding their business. And then when that happens, you don't know what you're going to get a couple hours later when you get on the field. But if you can keep them focused, that ride's not really, those trips aren't that bad, especially when you're staying within a couple hours. Now, when you go, like, say, if Prairie and did get shipped to Sioux City East, that's a little bit different. That's one that could have an effect. But
I know there used to be a caveat for playoffs that the trip had to be 3 hours or less, I think. Mm-hmm. And if not, then maybe they go
neutral site.
So I don't know if that would be a possibility, if they'd play that at Fort Dodge or something.
I remember, how far is Algona and Mount Vernon, boys? That's over 3 hours, right?
I believe so.
They played last year in the playoffs, and Mount Vernon had to go out there. So what Mount Vernon did was,
I thought it was over 3.5 hours, maybe.
Okay.
If I remember right.
So they took charter bus, got to the Sacred Acre in Parkersburg, got out, had a little bit of a workout on the drive over there, then climbed back in the bus and finished the trip. So maybe you could do something like that if you have to have that big of a journey in the playoffs, like Cedar Rapids to Sioux City or something like that. So,
3 hours, 21 minutes from
there. You go. There you go.
Boy, and how long was the Solon to Humboldt? Didn't Solon get shipped to Humboldt too?
That'd be the
same week. A couple treks there. And we'll see what this postseason will bring us as far as that goes. Looking at a couple other scores in 4A. Western Dubuque 63-0 over Davenport West. Not really a surprise, but that's 4 wins in a row for Western Dubuque. Is this a kind of are they putting together a really quiet, strong season that could certainly play spoiler here? They had a close loss to Xavier, and was it a close loss to Dubuque Wallard as well?
Yeah.
And now they've won 4 in a row. They're 5-2 now. Got a pretty decisive win at Decorah. Watch out for the Bobcats here coming up.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that you're really not gonna want to see in your bracket, even if you're at home. That's a team that that staff, those kids know how to win, and that might be one of your group of death teams, KJ.
Oh, we'll have to prepare. Start drawing that out. Couple other scores here in 4A. Newton 31-19 over Clear Creek Amana. I'm assuming that probably pretty much douses Clear Creek's postseason chances there.
Yeah, I would think so.
Number 7 ADL or Adele ADM 45. Number 10 Glenwood 3. Big win there for ADM. In Class 3A, there are a couple interesting scores there that I think might raise the eyebrow a little bit. Central DeWitt with a big 33-24 win over Mount Vernon. Hudson Kruko 220 or Central DeWitt had 220 rushing yards, but Kruko passed for 211 and 3 touchdowns against Mount Vernon. That was that we knew, especially Mount Vernon, the last 3 weeks or so, this was going to be a tough road because Central DeWitt got Assumption and Wahlert in the last 2 weeks. What was your takeaway seeing Central DeWitt win, and that, things are unsettled in that district.
I was very surprised, and I tell you, Mount Vernon is, there's got to be a little bit of urgency, a little bit of anxiety over there right now. They're 5-2. They got 2 tough games left, and boy, if they would drop them both, they might not make it.
Well, I would have never thought that.
No. I mean, we had them as a consensus preseason number 1, and they'd better get it figured out this week, and if not next.
Yeah, between Mount Vernon and Algona, those were 2 teams near the top of my preseason ranking, and Algona lost another one again this week to number 6 Sioux Center, 21-19. It's been a tough season for them, and like you said, Mount Vernon, they've got a lot of work to do here the last 2 weeks. Yeah. One of the other surprises, I would say, especially after what Williamsburg's done the last 2 or 3 weeks with wins over Des Moines Christian and Nevada, Winterset with a 29-0 shutout of Williamsburg this week. JJ, that surprised you a little bit with the Raiders being as hot as they were to fall to the Huskies?
Yeah, sneaky. Winterset's kind of a sneaky good team. 4-3 now. Certainly no pushover, and you have to look at the gauntlet that Williamsburg has had. Back to Solon, PCM, Xavier, Des Moines Christian, and Nevada in that order were the previous 5 games. So maybe some sort of unintentional let up by the Raiders, but you look at the stats in that game, Winterset ran for over 300 yards. So the reason it won the game right there. Williamsburg's inability to stop the run. And now I guess that throws that district kind of up for grabs, right, Lindy?
Yeah. Williamsburg still wins the district if they win out. I think, right?
Okay.
It's a 4-way tie right now. If they win both, I think they still win that district. So unless that's a tie with like a 3-way tie and Winterset's still involved, but Winterset must still play at least one of those other 2 teams.
Okay.
I'll effort that real quick while you guys talk.
Yeah, Williamsburg's got Knoxville, Sadell. That's win-win. Winterset has Sadell and Des Moines Christian. So that week 9 game with Des Moines Christian's big.
Okay.
Looking at another score, West Delaware, they stay unbeaten, setting up big game at Benton Community. They beat Charles City 55-0. And stop me if you've heard this before from West Delaware. The run game and defense propelled them to a win. So the Hawks rushed for 230 yards and 5 touchdowns. Their defense had 7 tackles for loss and 3 turnovers, 3 takeaways. So the Hawks kind of sticking to that formula, running the ball and playing really stifling defense. So it's worked out well for them. And, of course, they're at Benton this week. Dubuque Waller, we talked about that district with them, Assumption, Central DeWitt, Mount Vernon. Number 7, Waller beat number 10, Assumption, 27-20. So still a lot going on with that 3A district. In Class 2A, West Branch, they won 23-3. They were down 3-0 at half and scored 23 unmatched points in the second half. Cooper Gates, 2 TDs. Keaton Gates with a touchdown run. They have a big game against unbeaten Bellevue this week for district title up for grabs. Mid Prairie beat Mediapolis 62-21. Mid Prairie now 6-1 overall. Alburnett with a big win over Monticello 47-7. Brody Kessner, 211 yards passing, 4 TDs. And, of course, Lake and Caves, huge game for him as well. 12 rushes, 150 yards, a touchdown, 5 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown, and then an interception as well. So Alburnett still looking strong. South Tama with a 28-27 win over Pella Christian. Well, we've talked about, I think, Linder, you mentioned this before. South Tama's 4-3. Even if they lose, they're going to be assured of a 500 record, and they've had some pretty rough times. So a nice turnaround season for the Trojans.
Yeah, they're in the playoffs, and that's great. Really great. Really happy for South Tama, and Vinton Shellsburg can win. They can join them in the playoffs if they would beat Denver, which will be a challenge. But South Tama 4-3, Davis County this week. So you got to think they're going to finish 5-3 and probably be the 3 team out of that district. So kudos to them.
Yeah, if they could get that win, they'd be assured of a winning season. Some scores statewide of note: number 4 Okoboji 17, OA BCIG 15, and then Cherokee knocked off a top 10 team, 56-36 over number 10 Western Christian. There, Class 1A, some pretty lopsided games there. Regina 49-8 over Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont. Dyersville, Beckman 69-12 over Northeast. Beckman 6-1. Jude Kramer 90 yards rushing, 3 TDs. And then their Dubuque County rival Cascade with a 46-26 victory over MFL. Mick Hoffman, he's put together a heck of a season. He passed for 312 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jackson Green had over 100 yards rushing and 2 TDs. Eli Fritz, 8 catches for 101 yards. Brady Otting, even better, 8 catches, 158 yards and 4 TDs. So big win there for Cascade. Both of those teams will be marching on. Statewide, number 9 West Marshall 43, number 10 Truro I-35 0. Big win for West Marshall there. And they've really come on strong here the last few weeks.
Before we leave 1A,
Sure.
let's talk about District 4. There's a chance for a 5-way tie for first in that district. Columbus is 3-1, Hudson's 3-1, Union's 2-2, Applington Parkersburg's 2-2, Jessup's 2-2. Union's got Sumner Fred, so you assume that they're going to get to 3-2, and then both the 3-1s play the other 2 2-2s, and if that gets to be a 5-way tie, good luck sorting that out.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would be the criteria for that many teams in a tie? I mean,
I think it's just 17-point rule.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So that's always fun. That'll leave somebody very unhappy if that were to come to fruition.
It would leave me very unhappy if I had to be the one to figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. So hopefully those things get ironed out on the field and not with a pencil and paper, right? Class 1A, or in Class A, we talked about Northland and Midland with their big win there, setting up that battle with Wapsie Valley, number 7 versus number 8. There, statewide in Class A, number 3 Woodbury Central 33, Loma 14. Probably the one that stands out the most. Number 4 Marcus MMCRU 14, number 6 West Sioux 7. That one really notable. And then, Pekin, number 9 Pekin 32-27 over Danville. Pekin 7-0 in Class A right now. So Pekin putting together a good campaign. 8-player Edco, Iowa Valley, both win big. They improved to 7-0. Montezuma wins 82-8 over Twin Cedars to go to 5-2. And the one that really stands out to me in 8-player, Springville, they won their 4th in a row. They have the Tractor Bowl this week against Central City. If they win and Elkader Central loses, Springville should, I think, Lindy, we talked about this, they'll make the playoffs if
they win. They just have to win.
They just have to win. Okay.
Yep.
So win over Central City in the Tractor Bowl. We'll put them in, and that's quite the turnaround, quite the rebound for them after starting 0-4. Of course, I think they're healthier. Mason Hoy had a big game against Waco, 217 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Conlon Rouse, 14.5 tackles in that game, 8 solo. So Springville really on a roll here, winning 4 in a row. Statewide, Ruthven GTRA, 62. They're ranked 7th over number 8, Kingsley Pearson, 62-46. So anything we didn't touch on there with last week's results that you want to highlight before I quiz you on who's got more?
I think I'm ready for the quiz, but just joining what you said on Springville, they're going to be the 3 seed out of that district if they win. If you're a 2 or even a 1, do you want to see them? I mean, they're going to be a pain in the butt for somebody.
Depends on what direction they send them, but yeah, even in that 0-4 start, they played some pretty darn good teams and were competitive. I know Iowa Valley and I think Montezuma were 2 of the teams in that 0-4 stretch. Maybe even Don Bosco.
Just kind of looking here, a 2 team, a 2 seed from one of those districts might be somebody like a Clarksville or Collins Maxwell, Belle Plaine, Turkey Valley. I would think Springville would be favored over any of those teams, wouldn't they?
Possibly. Yeah. So you got like where they're sitting right now.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Who's got more? Ready for this, boys?
Ready.
Let's roll.
All right. So this is single game edition. So these are single game bests.
Okay.
For all these categories. So remember that. So we'll start off with most tackles in a game so far this season.
Okay.
Who has more? Dylan Weiskopf of Williamsburg, Kyle Youngbear of South Tama, or Aiden Schrock of Clear Creek Amana?
I'm going with Mr.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to go with Mr. Schrock. I don't know why.
I'm going to go with Mr. Youngbear just to keep the South Tama love going.
All right, there we go.
Dylan Weiskopf has 13.5 tackles. Aiden Schrock, 14.5 tackles against Xavier. Weiskopf was against Nevada. Kyle Youngbear had 18.5 tackles against PCM. So Kyle Youngbear, that's earning your paycheck right there.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, most rushing yards in a game. All right, most rushing yards in a game. Drew Bergfeld from Western Dubuque, Lakin Caves from Alburnett, or Keaton Gates, not Cooper, Keaton Gates from West Branch.
You're up first, JJ.
Lindy, you're first.
I am?
Oh, all right. I'm going to go Lake and Caves.
Yeah, that almost seems too easy, but I'm going to do the same.
Okay. Drew Bergfeld rushed for 238 yards against Waverly Shellrock. Lake and Caves rushed for 314 against Mid Prairie. I believe that was week 2. Keaton Gates rushed for 274 yards against West Liberty. So Lake and Caves, 314 yards. Woo-hoo. Good work. All right. This one gets a little tougher here. Most 2-point conversions in a game.
Oh, geez.
You've got
Kriegel.
Brennan Merkel of CPU, Owen Grimstad of Waukon, or Braden Todd of South Winneshiek.
Oh, none of them are 8-man either.
No.
Oh, no. I'm going to go with Merkel of CPU.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the young man from South Winneshiek.
Okay. Now, see, I think if we would have asked this 8 years ago, I think it would have been really, really easy because this team never kicked extra points back then. But Braden Todd had 2 against Sumner Fredericksburg. Brennan Merkel had 3 against Maquoketa. Owen Grimstad of Waukon had 4 in a win over Forest City. So 4 2-point. I thought Waukon might give it away because there was a time there when they almost exclusively went for 2 during kind of that stretch when they were going to the Unidome and even won a state title.
Yep.
But
some really good teams.
Yeah. And never kicked, hardly ever kicked. All right, here we go. Fumble recoveries in a game. Most fumble recoveries in a game. Got Cal McAfee of Cedar Rapids Kennedy, Jack Helly of Dyersville Beckman, or Landon Cooling of BGM. Who has had more fumble recoveries in a game?
Am I first? I'm going to go Landon Cooling.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the young man from Beckman.
All right. Cal McAfee of Cedar Rapids Kennedy had 2 fumble recoveries against Marshalltown. Jack Helly had 2 fumble recoveries against Waterloo Columbus. And Landon Cooling had 3 against Colfax Mingo. So Cooling of BGM, Johnny on the spot. You have to be in the right place at the right time to be able to recover
Around
3 fumbles. Yep. I believe they call them ball hawks, maybe.
Yeah. Fly into the ball.
Okay, so here's your last one. Most TD passes in a game this season. Most TD passes in a game. You kind of touched on it. Chris Cabeza of Iowa City High. Reese Reddig of Iowa City Liberty, or Vernon Benda of Cedar Rapids Jefferson.
Lindy's doing some ciphering here.
No, I'm just writing them down so I can remember names here. I'll go Cabeza with what he did last week.
Okay. So I know he had 5 last week.
Yeah.
5. All right, I'll go with Cabeza too.
Okay. Well, you're both right.
Hey.
And the thing is, you couldn't have been wrong on this one. All 3, Cabeza, Reddig, and Benda, have thrown 5 touchdown passes in a game.
Outstanding.
Cabeza threw 5 against Des Moines East last week. And then Reddig and Benda threw their 5 against Southeast Polk and Muscatine, respectively, on September 5th on the same week. So, big week there for those 2.
All right.
So you guys did pretty well. I thought those would be a little tougher. Other than
those
the
are good questions.
One.
Good questions. Yep.
Yeah. And JJ, you're right. It's a lot easier being on this side of the. It's got more questions.
$100 million. Yes, 100%.
All right.
So Lindy, maybe next week you can do this. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh boy. All right. Maybe
All right,
I'll come up with another game.
I'll just run down a few games that Jeff Linder has put together on our weekly football capsules, our 8 games to kind of watch here this week. You can find that at the Gazette.com. Number 9, Decorah, 6-1. 3-0 in Class 4A District 2 versus number 1 Xavier, who's 7-0, 3-0. That's at Saints Field. Iowa City West at Prairie. That's 5A number 7 Iowa City West, who's 6-1. Prairie's 5-2 overall. They've been in and out of the rankings. We mentioned Lindmar's win streak. They host Cedar Falls, who's coming off the win against Prairie. Cedar Falls is 5A number 5 with a 6-1 record. Lindmar at 3-4. City High coming off their first win of the season. They face really tough 4th-ranked Liberty team. Liberty 6-1. Iowa City High 1-6. Cedar Rapids Kennedy at Bettendorf, both 3-4 on Friday. And then we talked about Northland at Wapsie. That's probably one of the biggest games in all classes. Both teams are 7-0 overall, 5-0 in Class A District 4. Northland's ranked 6th, Wapsie 7th. And then West Branch at Bellevue. West Branch is 5-2 overall, 3-1 in Class 2A District 5. Bellevue ranked 8th, 7-0, 4-0, and hosting the Bears. West Delaware at Benton. That's number 4 West Delaware, who's 7-0, 3-0. Benton is 4-3, 2-1. Trying to solidify its playoff berth. And West Delaware looking for a win to set up a big, huge Week 9 game, possibly between unbeaten West Delaware and unbeaten Clear Lake if both take care of business this week. So a lot at stake for both of those. We mentioned Mount Vernon. They host Dubuque Wahlert this week. That's number 6 Wahlert, number 9 Mount Vernon. Both teams 5-2. Wahlert 3-0 in 3A District 3. Mount Vernon 2-1. And Mount Vernon desperately needs this one. So, guys, thoughts on that slate of games or any others that are kind of looming out there here in Week 8?
I threw in. I didn't put it on the list, but Vinton at Denver. It's certainly not a big game as far as a district championship or anything like that, but might be a make or break game for either or both teams to get into the playoffs.
And we should have Class A and 8-player pairings, right? Friday,
1A,
1A2. That's all the way up. Apologize.
Yep, 2A down. I think we'll have the qualifiers Friday night and the
Actual
pairings
Saturday morning. Okay.
I think 10.
Okay. So I can't believe it's that time of year, but let's go.
Yeah. Right. I will be out at Cedar Rapids Prairie for the 5A matchup between Iowa City West and the Hawks. Looking forward to that one out there. I've got my spot reserved. Thanks to Mr. Andrew Davis, the AD at Prairie. Why don't you guys tell everybody where you're going to be at this week and how we can follow y'all?
Yeah. I'll be at City High in Liberty at North Liberty, and I also have a spot there. Inside joke. So looking forward to seeing Liberty for the first time this year, and we'll see if City High can build a little momentum after their first win last week. And how about you, JJ?
Saints Field, get my first look at the Xavier Saints. So big Xavier Decorah tilt. And if they don't have room for me in the press box, I'm just going to follow around Coach Schulte all night on the sideline and listen in. So that's my plan. Oh, wait a minute. It's going to rain. Never mind. I'll watch from my car. How's that?
Yeah. They'll have room for you up there. You'll be able to stay dry and toasty warm up in the press box. All right. Well, make sure to follow us. You can find all our preview items at thegazette.com, not to mention in all of our high school sports. You can see a roundup from this week's state golf tournament as well at thegazette.com. Jeff Linder's been very busy with volleyball and cross country, and more of that to come that you can find at thegazette.com, as well as rankings, games to watch, and all our game reports after week 8 games. So make sure to log in and check out all of our great content at thegazette.com. For Jeff Linder, for Jeff Johnson, I'm KJ Pilcher. Thanks for watching the Triple Option podcast again this week. We look forward to welcoming you again next week for week 9.
And
keep your head on a swivel.